bracing for the trash-talking tyrants. That is the warning in tonight's preamble. On Saturday, President Trump will name a patriotic woman to replace the controversial and ultra-liberal Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the Supreme Court. In the coming weeks, we can expect a steady diet of distortions, half-truths, exaggerations, and out-and-out lies about Trump's nominee. And that's just from the so-called press. Elected Democrats, the alleged party of women, will descend into realms of evil that few of us have witnessed before against Trump's female nominee. We know they will because these liberals have grown steadily more contemptible in their attacks on the judiciary as the decades have gone by. In a preamble this week, we detailed how the Democrats treated a highly qualified man known as Robert Bork. But given the Democrats' identity politics, one could expect them to treat an intelligent white man in such an unfair and abhorrent manner. But there's the dirty little secret here, folks. The Democrat Socialist Party will do things to people that, by their own standards, their own left-wing standards, would be considered racist. Let's go back to the Bush administration. It was November 7th, 2001. When a staffer in Senator Dick Durbin's office sent a memo summarizing a meeting with representatives of various civil rights groups to discuss Miguel Estrada's nomination to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. Durbin's staffer wrote in the memo, published in 2003, that Democrat socialists had, quote, identified Miguel Estrada, D.C. Circuit, as especially dangerous because he has a minimal paper trail, he is Latino, and the White House seems to be grooming him for a Supreme Court appointment, end quote. Now, folks, you heard that right. Democrats, many of them who are still in office today, opposed Miguel Estrada because of the color of his skin. They savaged that poor man until he withdrew his nomination. Again, applying liberals' own standards, they are racists for using the fact that Estrada was a Latino as the reason he should not be appointed to the D.C. Circuit. Now, it won't be any different for a woman, the woman that Trump nominates. They will ruin anyone who stands in the way of giving government power to control you. Most of these Democrats are thugs. You don't believe me? Well, listen to Senator Mitch McConnell reminding America just how vile they can be.
6 months ago, our colleague walked across the street to the Supreme Court steps, stood in front of a crowd, and yelled,
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
That's the Democratic leader in front of the Supreme Court of the United States.
That's what the left does, folks. When they can't defeat you in the arena of ideas, they threaten you. They inspire violence against you, and then they sit idly by while their militants carry out the threats and intimidation. A word on Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. In the past, we've had our differences with him, and we still do. But on the issue of judges, Americans should be thankful and secure that we have the best man in the nation at the helm in this crucial time. McConnell is unparalleled in his knowledge, his determination, and ability to execute on his duties to place well-qualified jurists on the bench. One last thing on Democrat socialists. They never think it is fair to live under the same rules they impose on you and me. It's a do as I say, not as I do mentality. When President Bush was in the White House, Democrats began the practice of filibustering constitutional and conservative judges. When the GOP used the same unprecedented tactic on them, on Obama, Democrats simply changed the rules.
This version of the now Democratic leader said filibustering judges was an essential part of the Senate. He said that if Republicans ever use the nuclear option to change the rules in midstream because they can't get their way on every judge, it'll be doomsday for democracy. Doomsday for democracy. But of course, in the very next presidential administration, the Democratic leader leapt at the chance to press that doomsday button himself. Democrats could not abide President Obama being constrained by the same rules they'd imposed on President Bush. They had no patience to taste their own medicine.
You know, and Americans should have no patience for the Democrats and their dirty tricks. Democrats have been responsible for the loss of civility in the Senate. They have acted with racism, and they will act with bigotry towards women. We here on the Chris Salcedo Show want you to be ready. We want you to be ready for some of the most vile, underhanded, and scandalous tactics to be deployed by some of the most vile, underhanded, and scandalous Democrats this country has ever had the misfortune of harboring. And with every slight, with every betrayal, with every lie, we suggest you and 400 of your close personal friends make sure Democrats pay a heavy price in November's election.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.